Well, you know that healthy hair starts with a healthy scalp, but are you doing some things that may be damaging your scalp? Let's find out. Hey guys, Karen with Curl House. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, a certified trichologist, and the owner of the Curl House Hair Restoration Collection. And today we are going to talk about some things that you need to avoid so that you do not damage your scalp. Because again, healthy hair starts with a healthy scalp. So let's get right into it. Now, the first thing that you need to avoid is reusing your old hairpins and bobby pins. Yes, I said it. I know y'all have 1,000 of them laying around the house, but you have to stop using them, particularly the old ones, because the old ones, a lot of times the plastic covering or the tip, the bulb has come off. And this bobby pin here, you can see it does not have a bulb on it, a plastic bulb. And when that bulb is removed, it exposes all of the metal. And when you put this bobby pin without the bulb on it on your scalp, it can scratch your scalp. A lot of times these old bobby pins they're full of dirt and full of hair products. You know, they've been in your hair, and you know the type of products we put in our hair, and sweat. And so all of this is still on a bobby pin, and you put it on your scalp. Scratch your scalp. That can lead to inflammation, and that inflammation can lead to scarring and balding. I have seen it, y'all. I have been in a hair salon. I remember years ago as a new hairstylist, I watched as a client came in, not my client, another stylist client. She came in and she had a ponytail. Remember the ponytails we used to do back in the day? When we had relaxed hair, she had that ponytail wrapped around her hair like this, and the synthetic hair was attached, and the synthetic hair was attached using straight pins and bobby pins. And when she took the ponytail out, she had a bald spot in the middle of her head. It was inflamed, it was red, and her hair never recovered. That bald spot became a permanent bald spot simply from bobby pins. So I encourage you all, I'm not trying to scare you, get rid of the old bobby pins, in particular, the old ones that don't have the tips on them, because that is what can affect your scalp. It can lead to scarring, can damage your scalp, and your scalp may not recover. And the second thing to avoid doing to your scalp, if your scalp is itchy or if you have dry, flaky scalp, don't do this. Don't take your comb and scratch those flakes, lift those flakes up on a dry scalp. Don't do that. When you take your comb and scratch that dry scalp to lift up those flakes, that too can affect your hair follicles. Don't do that. Even if my skin is dry and I'm scratching my skin, sometimes my skin will bleed because I'm scratching it so hard. Imagine what you're doing to the scalp when you're scratching it vigorously, particularly dry with a comb. You are damaging your scalp. And unlike hair damage, if you damage your hair, if you flat iron your hair and you got heat damage, you can always cut your hair off. But scalp damage is different from hair damage. A lot of times scalp damage is more difficult to recover than hair damage. So I encourage you, do not lift those flakes up using a comb. Don't do it, particularly when the scalp is dry. If you want to lift the flakes up, it's a few things you can do. You can take an old toothbrush, wet your scalp, put your shampoo on it, and massage the scalp to lift the flakes up. Or you can take something like this, the Invigorating Scalp Massager, silicone base. Wet your scalp and massage to lift those flakes up. That's another way that you can do it. Or you can take your fingers and lift the flakes up. So these little tips will help to preserve the health of your scalp. And when you are preserving the health of your scalp, you are truly preserving the health of your hair. And for those of you who have chronic flaky scalp, like something such as extreme as seborrheic dermatitis. Seborrheic dermatitis shows up as yellow flakes on the scalp. That's because many times there is an imbalance in the oil production of your scalp. So it's an imbalance of sebum. So your scalp produces a lot of sebum, and that sebum attaches itself to your shed skin and creates these flakes. Now, what you don't want to do when there is an overproduction of oil, so those of you who are dealing with an overproduction of oil and you have thick, greasy flakes on your scalp, do not put oil on your scalp. I know a lot of times we automatically reach for the oil, but if you are dealing with an overproduction of oil on the scalp, adding more oil to it only exacerbates the problem. So first thing, if you are dealing with that, make sure you shampoo your hair even more. When you shampoo your hair, you wet your hair. You're going to lift those flakes by wetting your hair. Second thing that you can do is apply water-based serums, not oil-based serums. Water-based serums. The Curl House Follicle Stimulating Growth Drops is a water-based serum. So make sure you are applying water-based serums as opposed to oil-based serums, and get in the habit of shampooing your hair even more frequently. And speaking of oils in general, another thing to avoid in terms of oils is putting oils that have a high Cogenic rating. The Cogenic rating is pretty much the rating that will determine whether or not the oil will clog the pore or not. The rating scale is from 0 to 5, 0 being it's probably not going to clog the pores at all, 5 being is highly likely it's going to clog the pores. Stay away from oils that have higher ratings. And let me give you an example of an oil that has a higher rating. One example is our good old trusted coconut oil. I love coconut oil for my hair. I use it as a pre-poo, but the Cogenic rating of coconut oil is 4. That means it is highly likely that it's going to clog your pores. So some of us don't like coconut oil at all for our hair. I get it. But if you're going to use it for your hair only. Don't put it on your scalp. And as a side note, do you know that you don't have to put oil on your scalp at all? The scalp was designed to take care of itself. So the scalp naturally produces sebum, like I said earlier. So I don't put oil on my scalp at all because it doesn't need it. Now, when the microbiome or when the pH of the scalp is off, that's when you may experience dryness, itching, and you may need to apply some oil. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the next tip is to keep your styling products away from your scalp. So many styling products, particularly the heavier styling creams and styling gels and heavy moisturizers that have a lot of fatty alcohols and a lot of emollients in it, keep all of that away from the scalp. So when you are applying your hair products, make sure you apply your styling products about 1/2 inch to 1 inch away from the scalp. I know you're thinking, oh, that's not going to make a difference. Yes, it will, because over time, the products that you apply to your hair, the heat from your scalp will cause them to travel down closer to your scalp. So when that happens, a lot of our styling products are so thick and so heavy, it can clog the scalp. So even though it's perfectly fine for your hair, try to keep those heavy styling products away from the scalp. And the next tip is around your hairstyles. Avoid hairstyles that are too tight. I probably say this all the time. Too tight for the scalp. Because when the hairstyle is too tight, how do you know if a hairstyle is too tight? Your scalp will tell you. It will tell you because you'll see some bumps. Even if you don't see the bumps, you might have a headache. Even if you don't have a headache, you might find yourself pushing the hair up, trying to move the hair around so your scalp can breathe. If you're doing all that, that's an indication that the hairstyle is too tight. And when the hairstyle is too tight, it affects the scalp. That could lead to inflammation of the scalp. And when there is inflammation of the scalp, that is a precursor to hair loss. I'm not just talking about styles like braids and stuff where you're adding hair. I'm also talking about your ponytails like this that I put in today. It's very, very loose. Or your afro puffs. You know, we take those afro puffs and we pull them back and we want them super, super tight. That can lead to scalp issues. So don't do that. Avoid hairstyles that are too tight. Your scalp will thank you for it. And the last thing that I'm going to say is to avoid baking soda rinses. Do you all use baking soda? Do you put baking soda on your hair and scalp to clarify your scalp? Yes, people do use baking soda as a clarifier because it does strip, but it can also damage not just your scalp, but your hair. Baking soda, the pH of baking soda is like a 9. That is very, very high. So the pH of our skin is like a 5.5. Baking soda is a 9. The higher the pH, the more damage it can do to your hair and scalp. So do not do baking soda rinses on your hair and scalp. It can also cause irritation of the scalp. It can cause inflammation of the scalp. I suggest if you want to do a rinse, try an apple cider vinegar rinse. The pH of apple cider is much lower and it's much healthier for your hair and your scalp. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed these tips, these things that you should avoid so that you do not damage your scalp. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so that you do not miss a video in the future. And until we talk again, stay fabulous.